Just wanted to update everyone. We've really had a theme on AI this year, and which was timely because there was state legislation related to AI policy for K-12 school districts in the state. So that's really what this presentation is. It's short and sweet. So just kind of wanted to give you a quick overview of that policy that came out like December 30th, maybe December 31st of 2025. So I'm okay, what led us up to this kind of person? So in February of 2024, Innovate Ohio, that was a state-led initiative created by Mike DeWine, led by then Lieutenant Governor John Husted. I don't recall exactly what year that started, but it was maybe 2023. So things have moved very quickly, you'll kind of see. But Innovate Ohio, their whole kind of mission was to kind of update aged state systems, which isn't surprising. That is a state agency. Many of like the online systems were kind of old and not updated very much. So Innovate Ohio was kind of started with that, but then kind of grew from there, especially as AI really was launching at that time as well. So in February 24, Innovate Ohio launched an AI toolkit for K-12 school districts. It just basically was resources, and you can actually still access that using, this is all hyperlinked, and I will hyperlink this, it's in the agenda, and I'll also hyperlink it in the minutes. But resources for policymakers, basically district and building administrators, resources for parents on AI, and resources for teachers. I don't know that those are updated, so we know AI is changing so quickly. I don't know that I would go there for the latest in AI, but might be interested if you're interested to at least look at what was there. And so from that, education-specific coalition was created in May of 2024. That was the Ohio's AI in Education Coalition. And in November of 2024, so again, from May to November, about 6 months time period, they created some recommendations for districts. They recommended that they have create an AI working group they should be the ones to shape district policy and implementation, make sure that districts create an AI policy for use in the districts. And it also suggested that teachers and staff get PD and support on the use of AI in the classroom. So that was all just suggestions, nothing in law requiring it, until House Bill 96 this passed. It was part of the budget bill, and that always passes June, July. And so you can see with House Bill 96, it said that by no later than December 31st, the Department of Education and Workforce would develop a sample model policy that school districts could use to help create their own on artificial intelligence in schools. And then so schools had between then and now until July 1st of this year to then create their own AI policy. And basically what I'll go through the sections of kind of their model policy. Districts can use that or make slight modifications if they want, but they need to have something by July 1st. I spoke to a district that I've been working with closely this year. They already have their policy done, but I'm guessing that other districts will probably be working on it into the summer.
Could I interrupt you just for a second?
Yeah.
Could you kind of help me get a sense of like, are districts all over the place, or districts, are many of them like embracing this, or are they like reluctantly, like this is some mandate, or what's the vibe?
I would say it's probably all over the place, kind of how we are in education. There are definitely some districts that are forward facing, kind of embracing this and moving forward very quickly. I'm sure there are others that are kind of like, whoa, hold on. Some of it depends. It oftentimes depends on administrators within your building, their openness or reluctance to follow. That oftentimes I saw as a district admin, what the district admin policy was oftentimes influenced then what the district kind of was doing. You're always going to have teachers that are kind of on the front cutting edge and embracing it, but then others that are very reluctant. In education, we're big ships, and so moving them usually takes time, but there's often individuals that kind of spur that on.
Are you noticing a split, like affluent districts and ones that have less means, and it's expensive to provide AI to students?
So
possibly?
I can't speak to that. Can anyone else in the room speak to that? Like my day-to-day work, I'm more in Kentucky, so I can't. When I was working in a district, I would have had a better sense, but.
I do not really know. Hannah would probably be a better person to speak to that.
Okay.
Eli, what about you?
I know from a technology standpoint, that's really where it kind of falls under, right? If they have the technology in place, a lot of times they can adopt that AI into it. But if they don't have that technology in place, it's kind of, that's more, I would say, the hurdle than necessarily the AI component.
I just have one more. I swear to God, I will not talk after this. I shouldn't swear to God in the church.
Especially since you're going to talk.
But I'm wondering, have schools been if they have a big GPU, like a server, and having their local LLM, have you encountered districts that are entertaining that idea a little bit?
I don't know about other districts. I know my school, in our lab, we have our own servers and that are running those. But again, that's because we had that infrastructure ahead of time.
So Todd, I thought of you because UC just launched
Bearcat
GPT or whatever they are calling it. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like,
when I saw that, I thought about it too.
Yeah. Sorry, side note. So I thought I would just quickly go through like each of the sections of this so that you kind of know a little bit of what is in there. So it starts with a purpose statement about why districts need to have an AI policy, gives some definitions of what is AI, which is the state consider AI, generative AI, or an AI tool. I'm assuming they will probably have to kind of keep revisiting that and possibly updating it as things are moving very, very quickly. It does talk about AI literacy and making sure that schools are educating students on AI literacy, but it doesn't, sorry, I'm gonna do this so that I can see everything. That there needs to be AI literacy training for both students and educators, but it doesn't give a specific program or plan for doing that. It does specifically make sure to mention that safe and responsible use needs to be included in that literacy training that happens. It talks a little bit about stakeholder engagement and recommends that districts have an AI working group of both teachers, administrators, and community members to kind of help work on and keep up with this and updating their policy. It talks about data privacy and security and making sure that when districts, if you adopt an AI tool, it needs to follow those FERPA, all of the laws related to PII, especially with students. You have students under 13, so there's even more strict rules that go with that. It talks a little bit about the procurement and evaluation of AI tools and just says making sure that any tools, make sure it follows district policy, and I'll talk about that more right at the end.
Leslie,
yeah.
What is PII?
Personally identifiable information. Sorry, those lived in the instructional tech world for too long, and I just use those acronyms all the time. Sorry. So then it goes into all these very specific sections that should be in your model policy. So again, making sure districts define what is ethical use. I did pull some direct quotes that I thought were interesting. Implementation should be human-centered, and that's something like we have kind of talked about, but it's interesting that the state is also talking about that. Should empower students and educators and communities It's a tool to support learning and teaching, but is not a substitute for student effort or the role of the educator. So again, we've kind of been talking about that throughout the year this year, and I was pleasantly surprised to kind of see that in there. It talks about whole section on acceptable use. Again, this is another thing we've been talking about. Responsible and appropriate use of AI will vary depending on context. Expectations for acceptable student use should be clearly articulated by educators. If I was a teacher right now, every assignment I had, I would say like, yes, no, where on that continuum do I see like acceptable use of AI, or should this be like a no AI assignment kind of thing? I really think, and our students want that. When I talk with undergrads or see panels of undergrads, they want to know when they should or should not be using it. So they want that from our faculty and K-12 teachers as well. This includes specifying AI use expectations in your course syllabus and assignment instructions. And then also it says use of tools that haven't been approved is not permitted. So I oversaw instructional technology as a district administrator before I went to NKU. And that was something we struggled with because there are constant tools. Every day, a new ed tech tool with AI within it is coming out. And I was one of those teachers when I was in the classroom, like I liked new things, I liked trying new things. But then when I became the admin, it was like, hold on, like you're putting student names in there, you're putting like a lot of personally identifiable information. I've not had any time to look at who is this company, who's behind it, that kind of thing. So kind of had to be like, hold on a minute, educators, like let's take a pause. We ended up then forming like a committee and actually a process for requesting tools be approved. The other thing was like, there were like 10 different versions of every tool. And so like that was I didn't mind teachers having different tools, but it was like every single building, we had 14 schools, it was like they were all using different things. And so then me researching like their acceptable use policy, their data policy was just impossible. So I did like that.
See, I told you.
I would like to violate my earlier comment. I hope no one else is listening. But, another problem is like teachers now creating their own, vibe coding their own apps.
Yes.
And there are a million. There's going to be no way to contain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
I'm shocked, Todd.
Because you know what you're doing. That says tools that have not been approved, and I assume approved by the board, the principal, who has to approve?
Yeah, who approved?
And it would be up to the group to like figure out how is it, and it's probably going to depend on your district size. Like that's the one thing. I've worked in a small district and a big district, and I've seen how like in small districts, it's, probably maybe a building principal. In a larger district, you're going to have, I had a whole instructional tech team. And so like that would be for that group, that AI advisory group to kind of help make that decision. In consultation with probably the superintendent and stuff. So sorry if I'm going a little longer than my 10 minutes, but I do think it's good.
No, this is so good.
In terms of, they talk about having a section on academic integrity. So AI-enabled tools may be used to support student work, such as brainstorming feedback, but AI-generated work must not replace student work. The school or district should specify procedures for investigating and addressing suspected misuse in alignment with existing academic integrity policies. So making sure you have a policy for how to deal with that, how to go through an investigation. Implementation and review, again, the working group should meet on an ongoing basis to update the policy and address emerging risks. So this is one of those committees, like it's not a meet once a year kind of thing. Like they're gonna have to probably meet pretty regularly just because things move so very quickly currently. And then other considerations, so be aware of laws and policies related to non-consensual intimate imagery. So we actually had an incident in Cincinnati, where at Mason's High School, students were creating AI-generated photos of their classmates and posting them. And I'm sure that's not the only school that is happening at. It's just that they were caught and it was picked up by the news. So, in integration with other related policies such as the Student Code of Conduct, academic integrity. So, as like that working group that's working on this will need to make sure they're really well versed in academic integrity and all of the other district policies that kind of interact with any policies that this committee would create. I believe that's my last slide.
Do you know if there are any laws like about non-consensual intimate imagery? You know, like non-consensual. There needs to be a law about that.
I don't know. Yeah.
The piece that I'm wondering about, and maybe it doesn't necessarily belong in the policy, I noted a reference to like evaluation of the tools. Does that include evaluating the effectiveness of the use of the tools? Not just is it making a difference for student learning component?
And my guess would be with most of these things, they're coming out and they're not research based. Like they're just coming out with this.
Is the school district, as part of their policy, going to look at the effectiveness of these tools in student learning within their district? Or is the evaluation just of, does the tool come online, work well, that kind of thing?
I'll be honest, Michael, like as a district admin, I did not have time to do that type of research and evaluation.
Districts to not only with electronic tools, but with all of their.
I think that the answer to that, at least initially, is going to be: is it safe?
Yes.
Does it protect data? And then the teachers using it will, if it doesn't help their students learn, teachers will look for something else.
Well, how do they know what an effective way of looking at whether it's making a difference?
Right.
Test scores and things like that. I mean, it'll be it won't be a research-based answer. It'll be a classroom-based answer.
Well, it can be research-based in classroom.
Well, but I
mean, my second comment is, I heard on the news today about Canvas being held ransom, and there are a number of colleges and universities and districts who are currently undergoing that. And what kind of guidance is given to them on how to deal? Is that part of this kind of policy, or is that a different, an overall kind of policy in a district?
As somebody that affects twice, Tara and Walden both, the president of Tara came out with an email yesterday, and the acting president of Walden did the same, and given guidance to faculty. And I didn't see what they said to students, but also guidance what faculty should say to students if they had certain concerns. And so Sarah said that Tara's back up. I left home a little after 6 this morning. I don't know if Walden's back up or not. I don't know if everybody comes up all at once. So hopefully, but it is, the last week of the term, so they hit us where they knew it would do the most good for them.
I really want to know if they paid the ransom.
But we were also, when it comes to putting information in for students, we have like Walden, we have had 3 faculty trainings that are mandatory, and they say, don't put anything into AI, any student's name, nothing like that. No student's work should you put into AI. They have a policy that actually I printed out. And there's all kinds of guidance of what we should be doing. And we had 5 levels for each assignment, and the first was no AI. And in the last month, Walden decided that's not feasible because we give our students Grammarly, and Grammarly really is AI. I mean, it helps. We have many international students, and so having that is a big help to them. But they've had it for years. And so it is, when you think about it, it really is AI. So, and even think of Word and how you have a misspelling. What is that? Is that AI? So we are so used to certain things happening that we don't even think about it. And if you Google something, how long have you been Googling, oh, who is the 18th president of the United States? What is the temperature at, whatever? Do you believe everything you see?
No.
So anyway, sorry, I know we need to move on.
Oh,
Thank
can,
you.
can I say one little thing? It's really little.
You don't have to look over there, I'm in charge.
I think this really, like a Canvas thing, I think it's all about more local control, like more open source LMSs instead of the big corporation, and more control over your own data. I really hope that we move more in that direction.
And you did a good explanation of that last time.
Yeah, but I mean Canvas too, like use open source LMS tools too.
So I had a conversation with the NKU team, because I took an AI book study, and NKU had considered it and just felt like fiscally it wasn't doable at the time. I think for larger universities, it's more realistic, but for some of the mid-size and small.
So the state of Ohio needs to be providing this for all the public schools, right? It's a public utility.
And the whole internet, I mean, where are we with that?
Right.
Okay, well, thank you, Les. We appreciate that.